1 year ago, I started a podcast, the Nomad Cast. This episode is about taking a look back, lessons learned, and the way ahead. Stay tuned, stay locked. I'll see you after the break. Trust and believe. You are tuned into episode 132 of the Nomad Cast, where story time is a pastime. Now, I tell you, like I stated in the intro, today is my 1 year anniversary. Yay! Make all the noise. And I will tell you, after a year of podcasting, or as I like to call it, a year of nomad casting, I have learned a lot about the podcast industry, behind the scenes. I've learned about camera work, lighting, everything. And more importantly, I learned about myself, what I can do, my capabilities, so on and so forth. So I want to talk about that. But before I get started, let's go ahead and take a look back at September 13th, 2021. My very first episode, my very first intro, when it was called the Trust and Believe Nomad Cast. Let's take a look. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. No matter where you at, I'm glad to be with you. And I am so thankful that you are here with me. Damon Anderson, host of the Trust and Believe Nomad Cast, coming to you on 13 September 2021. Just want to say, now I tell you, then, my back wall, I had it filled, as you can see, I had it filled with daggone degrees and all my military awards, and I didn't even capture all the awards and everything on the wall. And initially I thought, hey, everyone's going to be excited to hear this retired Master Sergeant. They're going to love what I have to say. And I realized that may have created a disconnect with people that's not affiliated with the military, because they could have been looked at as like, who is this guy to have all his degrees and all his awards and promotion citations and all that stuff on his back wall? Is he better than us? Not saying, everyone thought like that, but there was some small pockets of people. That's okay. That's something they got to figure out. But I decided I wanted to make a change. I wanted to become, since I'm retired, I'm considered a retired veteran. I wanted to be amongst the people, if that makes sense. Because I haven't been amongst the people in almost 25 years. Well, over 25 years. So I said, you know what? Let me take all the awards and everything down, put them in other areas of my studio / basement, and put up stuff that I enjoy, the billboards, things that of that nature. But I would tell you, one of the reasons why I started this Nomad Cast, this podcast, is to fulfill a retirement passion. I've always been passionate about radio, people talking on the microphone, the behind the scenes. I always loved that. Studio work, how these guys prep for a show, so on and so forth. And I used some of the wisdom and knowledge and understanding that I had in the military, preparing for ceremonies, preparing for high vis events that we used to call them. And I will tell you, I applied all that into the Nomad Cast. And it was rough at the beginning because I had no clue about what to do. And no one ever sat me down and said, hey, do it this way. I kind of did a lot of this on my own. The majority was on my own as it relate to learning how to decipher some of this stuff. What's the perfect microphone? What's the perfect camera angle? What am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? And I tell you, it's still a struggle. It's still things I got to learn. But I tell you, where I was at a year ago, as you saw in that intro, I'm a whole lot better. I am way better. I am further along, which is the proper term. I am further along today than I was a year ago today. So, again, it all takes prayer, patience, and perseverance, and being resilient. Because there was times I wanted to say, bump this. I could do something else. I ain't got to work this hard, but I tell you, my day is filled with Nomad Cast type activities, outside of family stuff. And I definitely enjoy it. It keeps my mind going, keeps me engaged. And I'm learning new skills. So I definitely love that. But that was the main reason why I created Nomad Cast. I've always had an interest in podcasting. I love stories. I love everything about them. I love the behind the scenes, the technical work. How did they get this overlay over here? How did they get that lower third over here? And I'm using terms now that a year ago I had no clue how to do these things. When I showed a picture of an episode, last year, you can look at some of them early episodes. I didn't know how to make the picture, do a picture in picture. I didn't know about editing. I didn't know none of that stuff. The language and all that. And, I'm way miles ahead of where I was last year, like I stated. But I got a long way to go, and I'm definitely looking forward to this journey, right? Next thing on the docket, I want to talk about some of the equipment that I used in order to facilitate an episode. So let's stay tuned for that, and I'll be right back. Let me take you back into the way I had some of my title cards of billboards or whatever you want to call them. And I went through multiple billboards, purchasing multiple billboards. I went through Poster Burner. Let me put their website on there. And I'll tell you, it was the creative process of what I was doing with creating these billboards, the color schemes, and my thought process. So let me go ahead and take you through some of these right now. As you can see here, this is the first one that I had. Trust and Believe, Nomad Cast. I had it slanted. Everything that I was a part of, all the social media sites, the YouTubes and all that. The color scheme, I wanted the wood represented hard work and sacrifice and perseverance. So I wanted that as my background. And I rocked with this for a little while, but then I ended up transitioning to this one. Now here you see it says Trust and Believe on top, the Nomad Cast at the bottom, and they got me. This is almost like my hand is over my heart, but I would think I was just posing. And this one was great because now I was like, hey, I want a different color scheme. I want something different. I want something fantastic. I want something new. So I had this for a little while. Then I say, you know what? No, I am taking out the Trust and Believe, the Nomad Cast, because it was just too many words at one time. So I said, Trust and Believe can be my tagline, and let's go ahead and make it the Nomad Cast, as you can see here. This is my current one, right? So I like this one here again. I kept the same color, the color scheme, kind of enhanced it a little bit, kind of arched the words a little bit, added little nuances in the corners and everything. So right now I'm comfortable with this one, but I know how I am. This one is great, and then tomorrow I want to change the whole thing. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where I'm at. All right. As you can see here, I was talking about the various billboards and everything that goes along with creating and advertising the Nomad Cast. What I'm going to do right now, after we've seen all the billboards and everything, I want to take a look back at some of the episodes, some of the key episodes that I've had. Got over 130 daggone episodes. So it was difficult to kind of find the right ones. So I picked a few. And these clips are only like 15 seconds long, but you'll get the gist of what I was trying to explain. So let's take a look back at the Trust and Believe Nomad Cast throughout the past year. We can challenge ourselves for the greater good. Because there's so many people at work, so many people at home right now want to make a pivot in their life. Whether, dealing with work, dealing with bosses, dealing with finances, or whatever. So we're all looking for something that mentally challenges us, that mentally stimulates us. And that's why we talk about these things on Monday. Coordinated. See, these are some red ones. Again, another highlight of these retro Adidas. They should have been higher than what they were, but nonetheless, it was still a good retro. Last time I wore these was in Japan, I think in 2016 or 2017. We went to a dinosaur park. My dad going phone back and forth hood, and I'm taking this dude who told me he lives in freaking Dallas. Dallas is like way in the review, and we going to freaking Sherman. I'm like, what the freak is a Sherman, Texas? Oh, it ain't that far. So we driving. I'm seeing all this. All right, welcome back. So the main thing, as I get ready to wrap this episode up, we're talking about lessons learned. The biggest lesson I have learned with establishing, creating, directing, writing, scripting, photography, executive producing, editing, post-production, talking, scripting, directing, if I repeated it, being a lighting manager, a social media manager. I do not outsource anything related to this show. The only thing I outsource is once I upload everything to YouTube, I go ahead and strip the video and I upload the audio to Buzzsprout. And Buzzsprout shoots it out to the Apples and to my websites and all those. But everything I do, and I'm not saying that to brag, don't listen to me, but I do everything from the time I turn my light on in my office to the time I turn on my iMac to the time I turn everything off. I don't outsource anything. In an event that I grow bigger, I will have to hire a social media team. But I post all my stuff. I edit everything. I write it, script it, direct it, do all that. What am I trying to say? What are you trying to say, Mr. Anderson? What I'm trying to say is this. You can do anything you want to do if you put your mind to it. I'm a retired master sergeant. I could have just been chilling, but I want to do something. I want to go after another passion. I want to go after another goal. Because my ultimate goal with this thing is to get one of those silver YouTube. You ever seen those silver YouTube daggone awards? I want one of those. I want one of those. So if it take 1 year, 2 years, 10 years, I don't freaking care. I want one and I will get one. No matter how long this road is, I got enough shoes to walk on this road. Trust and believe that. No matter how many miles it takes to get to that YouTube plaque, I got enough gas in the freaking tank. All right. What I'm saying is the hard work that I'm putting in now, I know is going to spark something. Because all it takes is that one video. I've said that before. All it takes is one. And then shotgun it. Now, some YouTubers, as soon as they talk, they'll get 1 million views, 1 million subscribers. Great. I'm into long-term sustained growth. Let me say that again. Long-term sustained growth. I'd rather do that. I don't want to be the one-hit wonder. I want to be the person like the old school guy. When you listen to an album, I want you to be able to listen to song 1 all the way to the end. Not just picking song 5 and then you're done. Long-term sustained growth. That is my goal for the Nomad Cast. And with the help of you, sharing my videos, liking, subscribing, telling your friends, telling your neighbors, telling your co-workers, telling people that you don't like, I get to that goal. So thank you. All right, my closing remarks here. Again, this was, just a small episode. I wanted to talk about how I made the transition from being retired Army to being a YouTuber, to being on social media more heavily than I ever have, to being having my voice on all podcast platforms, the audio platforms. And I would tell you, it's been great. Again, it's taking patience because I knew this trek in life will be different. I knew what it took to make specialist, sergeant, staff sergeant, sergeant first class, master sergeant. The Army laid everything out. Hey, you need to do this in order to get to this. With this whole thing here, with this YouTubing and this podcasting and the social media and all that, look, it's laid out, but it is difficult. Some people grab it, some people get it, but it's difficult. But I'm up against the algorithm. But I think more importantly, I can put out a great product, a good product, a sustainable product. Once I upload the video and the audio, it's out of my control. YouTube controls it, Apple, and all these other folks as far as the eyes and the ears that it touches. I have no control over that. So I used to get upset about it. Man, this video was great. I'm talking about this, I'm talking about that. And I only got X amount of views. But at the end of the day, I'm comfortable with my work. I want to get better, but I'm comfortable with my work. My work is honest. My work is truthful. Trust and believe that. And this is not a tagline. I'm comfortable with the work because it's hard work. It's dedication. It's sacrifice, right? I'm telling you, it's going to work. I know it's going to work. I can feel it. Hey, thank you, everyone. Thank you And thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in on today's episode, my 1 year anniversary. Let's give it up again, y'all. 1 year anniversary of the Nomad Cast, formerly known as the Trust and Believe Nomad Cast, right? And I tell you, man, I'm having fun. It's like my new tagline. Story time is a pastime. Passionate about stories. You will continue to hear stories moving forward. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you want to donate to the Nomad Cast, you can see my PayPal down below. My YouTube, I'm everywhere. The Instagrams, all these things. You guys know where to find me. Websites and all that. Appreciate everything. You guys have a great day. Until we meet again, trust and believe.